Well, hi everybody. Pastor Eric here for our daily lunchtime devotional. And today for lunch, I've got a nice fish taco and pulled that out of the fridge. Hope you guys are doing well and you're not worried about food or anything. It is a kind of a crazy day today in the sense that it's slightly overcast, but got some good sunshine coming in. But it's a great day to be alive. We'll be bringing these lunchtime devotionals every day until things return back to normal, and we're going to try and keep them pretty short. Going to try and keep it to about 5 minutes. Yesterday went a little bit long for the first one, and this one we're going to try and do a little bit better though. Remember, there are a few things out there that we're good with, and we just have to think about how we move forward. One of the things that I'm doing, and I don't know what you're doing, but they say when you wash your hands, if you sing the happy birthday song, then it'll make it last long enough. When you wash your hands, if you want to say the Lord's Prayer every time you wash your hands and keep the soap and the suds going the whole time until you're finished with the prayer, use a lot of soap and hot water. That'll help out. And at the end of the time washing your hands, you'll feel a little bit better and closer to God. Now, for our devotional text today, I wanted to go to the book of Philippians and read what is one of the more misquoted verses out there, but it's one of my favorite verses. It goes back to when I was in high school. There was a guy who came and sung a song to this Bible verse. His name was Dennis Agajanian. He was just a great guy, an incredible guitar player. And the verse is Philippians chapter 4, verse 13, I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. And the funny thing about this verse, and we've talked about it in church before, I've done a sermon on it, but this is just such a misquoted verse. It's one of those things that people say, well, I can do all things through Christ, so therefore if I decide to do it, I can. Which, no, that's not what that means. If you can't fly a plane or just quoting this verse before you hop in a cockpit doesn't mean you're going to be able to fly the plane. So let's read it in context. So Paul, talking to the church in Philippi, said, I rejoice greatly in the Lord that at last you renewed your concern for me. Indeed, you were concerned, but you had no opportunity to show it. I'm not saying this because I'm in need, for I have learned to be content in whatever the circumstances. I know what it is to be in need, and I know what it is to have plenty. I have learned the secret of being content in any and every situation, whether well-fed or hungry, whether living in plenty or in want. I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. So this verse, again, you can see why it's one of my favorite verses. If you only quote 13, you're thinking, man, that's awesome. I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. But if you take a look at what the context is, it's not saying that with Jesus, all problems are removed from you. Instead, it's with Jesus, problems are not a problem. And so the question is, are we using this time that we have, and again, I'm at the office, a small office. There are only a few folks here, washing my hands repeatedly, got a nice bottle of the hand sanitizer right over there. So doing the things to protect ourselves. The question is, are we letting those things... sorry, that was my son. Are we letting those things get us down, or are we using the fact that, yeah, our habit patterns are changed a little bit, but let's take a look at it. Paul was shipwrecked for Jesus. Paul was stoned for Jesus. Paul was beaten for Jesus. Paul was thrown in jail for Jesus, and Paul was ultimately killed for Jesus. So 30 days at home, or limiting our social activities is not that much. So let's see. I don't even see. We've gone 4 minutes and 45 seconds. That's about all I wanted to share today, is that, yes, we can do all things through Christ. We can be well-fed or we can be hungry. The only question is, do we consider that to be a burden or not? And then how can we use this time when our habit patterns are changed? We're going to have more times with our spouses. We're going to have more time with our kids. It's crazy, but I heard right now sociologists are already saying two things they expect in the next 9 to 12 months. One, there's going to be a baby boom, and they're already coming up with a term for that. And instead of Corona kids, they're calling it the Corona-ennials. And they also said that about 12 months from now, there's going to be a spike in divorces, which is just shocking. So the question is, are we going to use this time to draw closer to each other and closer to God, and to draw our strength from God, and to build our better relationships? Or are we going to use it to, to get angry, to get frustrated, to let things get to us? Whether well-fed or hungry, we can do all things through Christ who gives us strength. So that's it for today. Have a blessed day. See you tomorrow at noon.